that vision. But before we do so, I just want to summarize those key points, because while that quiz was fun, I want to make sure that we walk away understanding that those key points here. So again, walking away from this session, you need to A, know the institute structures in which core members are engaging in work time. You need to B, be able to place the fact that we need to gauge those structures' effectiveness by what core members are producing. We then need to understand that we need to support our staff members to be able to prepare and be able to execute those structures very effectively based on that vision. Okay, so what we're going to do now is you're going to actually draw on the pre-work that you did, the Talon exploration, prior to this session of P3 and P1 to complete an activity that grounds us in the rubric. As I mentioned in those key points, the rubric really does articulate the vision for what those outputs need to be, but you need to have an understanding at an extraordinarily high level of what that actually means and to be able to articulate it in your own words. So what we're going to do, if you could all take out handout 1, we are going to see where you are in this moment, your level of proficiency about P3 and P1. And there are 2 sheets to this. One looks like this without the gray boxes, P3 and P1, and one has letters going down A through O. You're actually going to do this at your tables, but before you do, I just want to give some instructions and just model one of the answers so you understand how to go about doing this. Okay, so if you look at the sheet right here, which it says P3 and then P1, what you're going to do is you are going to match the descriptions to each of these categories. So looking at P3 strand 1, you'll see there's 3 letters that you need to match. One is the teacher action of this row and strand, one is the interpretation of that row and strand, and one is the questions that this strand asks. So what questions would lead me directly to this row and strand? So if you look at the back, a good way to think about doing this is actually just going through each of the letters and then going back and matching it to this, as opposed to like trying to find the teacher action, looking at all of those rubric rows and strands. So looking at letter A, for example, I'm reading, do the key points break the objective down into the specific things students need to know and do? Does the lesson teach the objective, introduce and emphasize the key points, and prepare students to complete the assessment? So what I'm thinking is, okay, it's talking about key points. I know it's P3. It's talking about their level of specificity. And then it's talking really about the alignment here. So I'm thinking, I'm going back, it's P3, strand 1, quality of key points and the degree of alignment. And really when I'm looking at these are questions that I would ask that would lead me to this row. So I'm gonna go ahead and do letter A. In P3, strand 1, box 3, some questions this strand asks. So you're going to follow this pattern for the rest of letters A through O in partners at your table group. And then one of the things I just want to point out on this handout, at the bottom, there are bonus boxes, and you'll see that. So once you go through matching, there's a series of kind of fun things that you can do with these rubric rows. And so as soon as you're done with that, get to that. There's some haikus involved, potentially. Get excited. Make sure you're doing the matching before we get to that. I really do want to hear some poetry today. So go ahead, and your table facilitator will help you if you have any questions. We have